The scandal involving Rampage Jackson has become one of the most disturbing and widely discussed events in recent combat sports history. What began as a routine appearance at a small wrestling show escalated into a global controversy, fueled by a single viral clip and alleged remarks from Jon Jones, one of the most decorated fighters in MMA history. What should have been a simple night of performance ended with Raja's name permanently etched in disgrace. Raja, the son of MMA icon Quinton Rampage Jackson, was trying to step out from under his father's shadow. Appearing in local wrestling shows, he aimed to craft his own identity in combat sports, blending charisma with aggression to stand out. But on that fateful night, he did more than stand out, he crossed a line. In the viral video, Raja is seen lifting his opponent, a performer known as Psycho Stu, into the air and slamming him hard to the mat. What was initially perceived as a scripted wrestling move took a dark turn when Raja began unleashing a series of real, unprotected punches on Stu, who appeared to be unconscious from the slam. At first, the audience hesitated, unsure whether it was part of the act. But the lack of movement from Stu and Raja's continued aggression made it painfully clear. This wasn't scripted. Referees and officials took too long to intervene, and by the time they separated the two, the damage was irreparable. The crowd's excitement turned into hushed horror. The atmosphere shifted from spectacle to dread. Once the clip hit social media, it exploded. Platforms like Twitter, Reddit, and YouTube were flooded with slow-motion analyses, reaction videos, and widespread condemnation. Hashtags like "Ban Raja" and "Lock Him Up" quickly trended. Unlike infamous MMA moments such as Paul Daly's punch on Josh Koscheck after the bell or Mike Tyson's ear bite, this wasn't a competitive outburst. It was an attack on someone defenseless. The fact that Psycho Stu was visibly unconscious when Raja kept attacking made it all the more disturbing. As news broke of Stu's injuries, rumors of concussions and possible internal damage, the incident evolved from a viral moment into a potential criminal case. What made matters worse was Raja's demeanor. Instead of playing to the crowd or selling a storyline, his body language was aggressive and predatory. He reportedly muttered something that fans interpreted as "this ain't no game," a phrase that, if true, removed any illusion that his actions were part of a performance. The MMA world, often divided on most issues, responded with near-unanimous condemnation. Fighters like Derek Brunson and Ryan Garcia voiced their outrage. Garcia called for Raja's imprisonment, while others mocked him for attacking a defenseless opponent rather than testing himself in a real fight. The internet piled on, branding Raja with humiliating nicknames and turning his outburst into a meme-fueled spectacle of disgrace. Rampage Jackson's attempt to defend his son only made things worse. He claimed that Psycho Stu had provoked Raja earlier by hitting him with a beer can. But that explanation was quickly rejected by fans and analysts alike. A prop thrown in a performance setting didn't justify a brutal beatdown on an unconscious man. Instead of defending Raja, Rampage's comments were seen as enabling the behavior, and it dragged his once proud legacy into the mud. Then came the alleged comments from Jon Jones. Though never officially confirmed, the words attributed to him were damning. "He's not a man, he's a boy, and this boy needs to go to jail." Coming from a figure like Jones, someone who has had his own share of legal issues, the remark struck a powerful chord. Jones's career has been marred by personal controversy, but his accomplishments in the octagon are indisputable. For a fighter of his stature to publicly shame Raja in such a way added gravity to the scandal. The quote, "whether real or not," spread rapidly across social media. Fans and pundits treated it like gospel. The statement was repurposed in memes, overlaid on videos comparing Jones's championship performances to Raja's reckless act. The contrast was brutal. One man known for dismantling legends at the highest level of sport, the other known for a cheap shot on an unconscious performer. Some critics called Jones's alleged comments hypocritical, given his own criminal history, but most people embraced the irony, noting that even someone with Jones's troubled past found Raja's behavior indefensible. One viral comment summarized the public sentiment. "If Jon Jones is calling you out, you must have really messed up." Meanwhile, Raja's own behavior worsened the public perception. In leaked messages and alleged live streams, He reportedly bragged about the incident, saying it was the day I proved I ain't soft. There was no sign of remorse, only arrogance. Rather than trying to clear his name or apologize, he leaned into the notoriety, deepening the backlash and confirming the worst fears of critics. This wasn't a moment of immaturity, it was a reflection of who he was. The scandal began to transcend the MMA world. Major outlets like ESPN, TMZ, and the BBC covered the story. Sponsors dropped him. Local gyms refused to be associated with him. The Jackson name, once a cornerstone of MMA history, was now linked to disgrace. Legal experts began weighing in, noting that the footage showed clear evidence of assault. The fact that Raja continued striking an unconscious man could be grounds for felony charges. The possibility of criminal proceedings became real. Jon Jones's alleged call for jail time shifted from hyperbole to a likely outcome. Jon Jones's alleged call for jail time shifted from hyperbole to a likely outcome. Raja's camp attempted to push back. Someone close to him reportedly called Jones's comments hypocrisy at its finest, citing his criminal past. But this only reopened wounds and failed to address the core issue. Instead of defending Raja, it reminded the public of the massive gap between his disgrace and Jones's legacy of greatness despite flaws. Rampage Jackson's silence became increasingly conspicuous. Apart from his initial defense, he remained largely absent from the conversation. Some speculated that even he was ashamed. Analysts theorized that Jones's condemnation wasn't just aimed at Raja but also at Rampage, a symbolic act to distance a respected legacy from a rising disgrace. Raja's image was beyond repair. Once seen as a young man trying to forge his own path, he had become a cautionary tale. The internet declared him the face of wasted potential, of ego without merit, and violence without discipline. Jon Jones's alleged quote became the final word in the public narrative. Not just a scolding, but a sentence. He's not a man, he's a boy, and this boy needs to go to jail. Even if Raja attempts a comeback, the shadow of this scandal will always follow him. His legacy, if it ever existed, has been irreparably defined by one moment of unchecked rage. The Jackson name, once synonymous with highlight reel slams and fan-favorite performances, now carries the stain of disgrace. What Raja sought, respect, recognition, individuality, has been replaced with infamy. Combat sports have always walked a fine line between violence and honor. Raja Jackson didn't just cross that line, he erased it. And in doing so, he became a living reminder of what happens when the pursuit of notoriety tramples over the fundamental values of respect, sportsmanship, and control. This wasn't a mistake. It wasn't an accident. It was a choice, and it's one that may cost Raja Jackson everything.